With us, you're watching Plain Speak with me, Shivani Gupta. Another day, another month, another alleged scam striking Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal and his government. This time, Aam Aadmi Party Delhi government has been accused of using the Vigilance Department to carry out snooping on political rivals in government institutions. The case has been referred to the President's office after a CBI report accused the AAP government of snooping. The CBI, in its report submitted to the Vigilance Department, sought approval from the LG to register a case against Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia, under whom this, quote, feedback unit was functioning. The Delhi government has called the move politically motivated, refuting all allegations, but the BJP is up in arms. The party staged a massive protest in the national capital and sought the resignation of Sisodia. Delhi BJP says that not just opposition leaders, this feedback unit was also snooping on journalists, businessmen and senior officers. Did the Aam Aadmi Party blatantly abuse, misuse their power in Delhi government? Was the Vigilance Department effectively turned into an in-house party snooping wing? We'll take those questions to our guests in just a bit, but first a quick detail of what this case is all about. So this feedback unit, as it was termed, FBU, was set up by the Chief Minister soon after coming to power in 2015. Now, this unit was meant to track departments, institutions under Delhi government jurisdiction. The main aim would have been to counter corruption. But CBI, in its preliminary report, says this FBU also snooped on political entities, persons and issues with interest to the Aam Aadmi Party, all political. The CBI also says during 8 months of its active existence, we don't know whether this unit is functioning anymore, this FBU, quote-unquote, investigated as many as 700 cases. And here's the kicker. They say 60% of these 700 cases were political in nature and not really vigilance-related. This charge and subsequent probe that is expected now is going to be very problematic for the Aam Aadmi Party. This goes very much against the grain of what the party says it stands for. I mean, it's the Aam Aadmi Party. In fact, they are now under so many scam-related charges, the very image of the party is under threat. So what are these scams that they've been hit with? And I'm only going by what has happened over the last few years, actually. There are some that they were hit with soon after they came to power, some individual cases, etc. Of course, the biggest one is the liquor gate. Number 2 of the party and the government, Manish Sisodia, is accused of getting kickbacks from liquor barons. Many have already been arrested as far as this case is concerned. There's a DTC bus scam. A probe has been ordered into irregularities in purchase of buses and ignoring the lowest bidder. Then there is the classroom gate, which we discussed very much in detail here on Plain Speak. The Delhi government's own vigilance report says that 1,300 crore scam in construction of classrooms and toilets. There's the money laundering case against AAP Minister Satyendra Jain, in which he's been in jail since June 2022. He's in this case also accused of misusing his government position. And then there is this advertisement case that had reared its ugly head once again. Remember, this is an old case where the Aam Aadmi Party was initially asked to return 97 crore rupees. That sum has now increased to 160 crore, 3 crore rupees because of interest. The charge here is that they used public funds for political ads. So the big question we asked today, now another probe is set to be launched against the Delhi government. Did they blatantly misuse their power?
अरविंद केजरीवाल ने एक फीडबैक यूनिट बना दी ऑपोजिशन पार्टीज का, बीजेपी के लोगों का जासूसी कराने के लिए।
सरकार एक व्यवस्था है, सरकार संविधान से चलती है, कानून से चलती है।
आम आदमी पार्टी की सरकार के डिप्टी सीएम मनीष सिसोदिया फीडबैक यूनिट के बहाने राजनीतिक नेताओं की जासूसी करते हुए पकड़े गए।
अगर इनको लगता है हम जासूसी कर रहे हैं, तो एजेंसीज इनके पास हैं।
Let's go across to the guests who are joining us. Charu Pragya is the BJP national spokesperson. I'm also joined by Karan Verma and Irsan Trivedi, both political analysts. Sanjay Mishra is an Aam Aadmi Party supporter. Umesh Sehgal is former chief secretary in the national capital. Of course, we invited the Aam Aadmi Party. They have refused to join this debate today. But I want to go across to Sanjay Mishra first up. Sanjay Mishra, you know, we played out that bite of Sushil Gupta, the Aam Aadmi Party MP. उन्होंने ये कहा कि अगर कोई हमने स्नूपिंग करी है तो एजेंसीज आपके पास है, लेकिन जैसे ही कोई प्रोब इनिशिएट होती है तो आम आदमी पार्टी ये बोल देती है कि ये तो वेंडेटा है या हमारे खिलाफ साजिश है. वो चार्जेस एक्सप्लेन नहीं करते. अब लिकर गेट हो गया, सत्येंद्र जैन के चार्जेस हो गए, डीटीसी हो गया, बहुत से चार्जेस हो गए. एक्सप्लेन नहीं करते चार्जेस, बस ये बोल देते हैं कि हमारे खिलाफ साजिश है. या तो आप इनवाइट करो एजेंसीज की प्रोब, या फिर आप चार्जेस को डिफेंड कीजिए, एक्सप्लेन कीजिए. संजय मिश्रा.
बिल्कुल 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 होना चाहिए. ठीक उसी तरीके से मैं आपके सवालों का जवाब दूं, लेकिन इसके बारे में कुछ अपनी तरफ से मैं बात रख दूं कि जब प्रधानमंत्री की मौजूदगी में संसद के अंदर संसद सदस्य उनसे सवाल पूछते हैं कि प्रधानमंत्री जी 8 साल के अंदर एक व्यक्ति 600 कुछ नंबर से दूसरे नंबर का व्यक्ति बन जाता है, उससे आपका संबंध क्या है? तब प्रधानमंत्री जी कुछ नहीं बोलते हैं. जब ये देश पूछता है प्रधानमंत्री जी से कि प्रधानमंत्री जी 2013 में आपने देश की जनता के साथ कुछ वायदे करके आप देश में 14 में सत्ता में आए थे, आपको उसके पास कोई जवाब नहीं है. देश ये भी जब पूछता है, संसद सदस्य ये पूछते हैं कि जब आपने 2 करोड़ रोजगार देने की बात की थी प्रधानमंत्री जी,
संजय मिश्रा जी, ये तो सब पॉलिटिकल बिकरिंग है, ये मेरे सवाल का जवाब नहीं है. आम आदमी पार्टी
आपके बात पे आ गया.
आम आदमी पार्टी ये कहती है कि वो बीजेपी जैसी नहीं है. वो जो ये एक ऐसी पार्टी है जो बहुत प्रोबिटी और एंटी करप्शन के प्लैंक में पावर में आई थी. मैं सिर्फ ये सवाल पूछ रही हूं कि अगर
बिल्कुल ये कौन है? आम आदमी पार्टी है ना.
अगर उनके एमपी कहते हैं कि आपके पास एजेंसीज है, तो जब एजेंसी प्रोब लॉन्च करती है तो उसको वेंडेटा क्यों बोल देते हैं?
हाँ, क्योंकि वो सब तब सवाल उठता है जब 167 केस दर्ज कर दिए जाते हैं और उसमें से मैक्सिमम केस यानी 90% केस खारिज कर देती है कोर्ट. तब सवाल उठता है. तब सवाल उठता है कि जब देश की जनता या दिल्ली के लोग जब कोई बात रखता है अपना, तो प्रधानमंत्री और भारतीय जनता पार्टी की तरफ से एक नया सगुफा लेकर के आया जाता है. क्या अभी इसके पहले क्या क्या आरोप आए हैं? अभी वाइन का आया, शिक्षा का आया, अब ये नया एक सगुफा आया. तो इनका पेगासिस कहां है?
नहीं, ये जो आप लिकर गेट की बात कर रहे हैं, लिकर गेट चीफ सेक्रेटरी की तरफ से इल्जाम आया पॉलिसी पे. जो आप क्लासरूम गेट की बात कर रहे हैं, वो दिल्ली सरकार के खुद के विजिलेंस डिपार्टमेंट ने रिपोर्ट दी है. इस केस में सीबीआई ने एक प्रिलिमिनरी जांच करी है. अब हर चीज को तो नकारा नहीं जा सकता ना. लेट मी ब्रिंग इन द फर्स्ट कमेंट्स फ्रॉम इरसान त्रिवेदी एज वेल. आफ्टर अ पॉइंट in government, your duty is also to explain the charge that is made, and I'm sorry, it does not compare to asking ki why a private individual is doing so well. That's not the same charge that is here. Here the charge is about government itself, something that happened under them, under the cabinet. There needs to be some explanation before a probe is done. It almost seems like the Aam Aadmi Party believes they don't have to explain anything.
Basically, why it is happening that BJP is why Bharatiya Janata Party is so much worried about feedback. I mean, why they are creating just a simple feedback form into oh my God, someone is looking after me, someone is making jasusi on me. I mean,
because the CBI is saying so.
If it is a feedback, if it is a feedback from a public, like Gujarat, people are telling that it's a feedback thing.
No, what are you saying? Irsan, that's not the case at all. The CBI's preliminary report says that they were snooping on political rivals, individuals.
I mean, oh my God, I mean, like, suddenly what has happened to BJP?
This is not sudden.
BJP was
this is actually not sudden. This is from 6 years ago. No, this is not sudden at all.
A lot of CCTV camera footage.
No, for the benefit of my viewers.
CCTV camera footage of Satyendra Jain. They were showing a lot of this questionnaires on Manish Sisodia. And what happened suddenly to Bharatiya Janata Party? Why they are worried about snooping and all this? If they are
So
very
you-
much, so-called very good party.
So you are
My
saying
only
that
concern
nobody
is
should be
that
worried about
my
snooping
only
anymore.
concern is that
One
there
second,
should be very much transparency
Ihsan, this is
of
a bit much.
government.
This is a bit
There
much.
should be
Just
transparency on
because the Aam
governance.
Aadmi Party is being accused of snooping, now people should not be worried of snooping only. Let snooping happen on us. ऐसे थोड़ी ना होता है.
Can I come in?
Yes,
I
Charu
mean,
Pragya
if we
wants
are
to
not
come in.
having any kind of issue, I mean, why we are just worried? I mean, why Bharatiya Janata Party is so worried? They are in power, na? They are in power
But
in
in
national.
Delhi, you are in
national-
Can I
power.
speak now?
This function under the Delhi government. What about your power? Yes, Charu Pragya.
Shivani, good evening. And it's funny how something so real, so worrisome, and so important has been twisted around again by the opposition. See, the fact of the matter is, when you use taxpayers' money for illegal purposes, for snooping literally, for setting up a department which is not doing anything that it was supposed to, instead, it is
Now
misusing
Bharatiya Janata Party is
officers'
putting both the
powers
things together.
to get inside the lives of political organization, political leaders, and whatnot. It
Oh
is
my
worrisome,
God.
and this is not
Oh
a
my
charge
God.
that
See, where is
BJP is
CBI?
putting on you. This is a charge that CBI
Where
is
is
putting on
CBI?
you. 1 minute,
Where is
Shivani, I
ED?
cannot debate like this. I didn't heckle anyone, and I will appreciate it if people on your panel can maintain basic decency here. If he cannot, he is free to leave, or I will, because I
No,
cannot
I mean,
debate
like,
like
it
this.
is like,
When
you
I-
can speak anything. I mean, that nobody can argue
when
in
you
front
were
of you.
speaking, I did not interrupt you. If you want this entire debate to be a heckling match, I will match you for it, and I will make sure you don't speak for
Okay,
the
let
rest of
Charu
it.
finish,
It's
then
up to
others can
Shivani
come in.
Oh my
to
God,
Yes.
now
decide.
you are
No, one
threatening me.
second.
Oh, no,
Mr.
snooping.
Trivedi,
Snooping
Mr.
has turned
Trivedi,
into
not like this.
threatening. Snooping
Mr.
has turned into
Trivedi,
threatening. Very
you
much
had your
confrontation.
opportunity. You just told the entire viewers, all the viewers, that nobody should be worried about snooping. That is your defense to the charge. You've made your point. Now listen to your opponents. Then I'll come back to you. Yes, Charu Pragya.
Shivani, when you look at the flow of events for Aam Aadmi Party, let's go back and talk about them one by one. Delhi was burning. They said their councillor had nothing to do with it. Court held Tahir Hussain responsible for it. The courts held it, the police investigated it and put it up in the courts. They have a minister who's been behind bars for corruption charges for the longest time. Again, the courts are not giving bail. This is not Bharatiya Janata Party's doing. This is your doing, and it is coming back to bite you. Thirdly, they keep talking about the liquor scam. They say this was a perfect policy, etc. The day investigations opened, we started asking questions. They took a U-turn on it and they took it back. If your policies are so good, why do you need to take it back? Lastly, and most importantly, what right do you have to snoop into people's lives, into organizations without any authority? How can you say it and be so blatant about it and say हमारी मर्जी हम करेंगे, आपके पास कुछ छुपाने को नहीं होना चाहिए? भैया आप कौन हैं? आप क्यों करेंगे? And what gives you the right to utilize our money, taxpayers' money, for things like this? See, the fact of the matter is, ये एक वो political party है हाथी की तरह जिसके खाने के दांत कोई और है, दिखाने के दांत कोई और है. प्रेस के सामने आकर they come and they try and distract people's focus. They are the ones where they have their chief minister. Please don't interrupt me when I'm done. I'm sure Shivani will continue.
One by one,
Mr. Trivedi, I do not debate like this. I don't know what kind of shows you are used to, but I don't function like this.
Okay, one by one. Can I just come in? Ihsan, once again. I don't know why you're making this argument, but I'm sorry, but no intelligent person in politics or otherwise is going to buy an argument that snooping is okay. There's a certain mandate that a vigilance department has. Anything over and above that, anything over and above that is illegal. Let me,
Can I finish?
no, one second, Charu,
Can I finish?
one second.
Last point.
Yeah, okay, Mr. Trivedi, just one second. Mr. Trivedi, don't speak ad nauseum over people. One second. Mr. Trivedi, I will come to you. You please speak then that there is a certain decorum with which a debate is done. Do not speak ad nauseum over other people, please. Yes, Charu, 30 seconds. I want to come in and add some points here.
Yeah, no, very quickly. Shivani, I also want to say that every time statements are publicly made by the Chief Minister of Delhi, he is found to be wrong repeatedly. Repeatedly, he'll talk about physiotherapy. It turns out to be a inmate accused of rape. You know, it's like the stack of supplies have piled up so high now, it was going to fall. There is no two ways about this.
Okay.
And when they say that the CBI cannot investigate this because it happened several years ago, let me tell you, the backlog of investigation on cases in our country is very high. Maybe it's not a number that you understand, but let me explain this to you. As somebody who's a lawyer who's been a part of a lot of legal proceedings, it takes time. And when these investigations come to the front and when the courts are concluding these matters, all your people, every single time without fail, have been found to be guilty.
No, the Aam Aadmi Party says that there are several cases that were filed against their individual members and several of them have been thrown out. That's also true. But I do want to add what Manish Sisodia has said today. And Karan Verma, I'm coming to you with this. I'm just looking at the defenses or the sidestepping of the very serious accusations they have faced, whether it's Liquorgate, Classroomgate, the charges against Satyendra Jain, who continues to be a minister, by the way, and now this case, which, by the way, if this was a charge against any party in Indian politics, would have been a big deal. I wonder why, because it's happening in Delhi, it's not a big deal. But Manish Sisodia this afternoon tweeted and said that BJP is accusing him that since 2015 he's been snooping on them. इतने बड़े बड़े लोग जिनका अस्तित्व ही सीबीआई, ईडी, पेगासस से विपक्षी नेताओं के खिलाफ साजिश कराने पर टिका है, अगर इतने बड़े लोग भी मुझसे डर रहे हैं तो लगता है कि अपन भी मोदी के बराबर हो गए हैं यार. Now all of that is fine, but ultimately somewhere in the government, all of this is government related, this is not party related. Someone in the government has to explain what is going on. There has to be some accountability in governance.
Shivani, when Arvind Kejriwal years ago said that I am an anarchist, he actually meant it. And he's practicing that ever since he took to governance. And this kind of rubbish whataboutery that Mr. Manish Sisodia came up with, the people today are far more intelligent to look through this. Every single case, whether it was the liquor scam, where they flouted the recommendations of their own Dhawan Rai committee. And when an RTI was filed by Ajay Bose, it was clear that a minimum loss of 8 crores per day was incurred. At least 2,000 crores of exchequer money was lost. They had to take back the policy. They don't answer on that. Satyendra Jain, why don't they get relief from the court for Satyendra Jain, who continues to be a minister? Why don't they get the FIR quashed for Vijay Nair, who's in the jail? I mean, all these cases have been flagged, even the snooping one, which, by the way, is a very serious offense. And I wonder, where are those liberals? Where are those freedom of expression activists today? Why aren't they asking AAP what they've done here?
No, by the way, can I add? The Supreme Court has declared privacy a fundamental right in India,
Absolutely.
by the way. And we've got a person supporting the Aam Aadmi Party saying it's okay if you're being snooped upon. What are you so scared about?
So Shivani, I think you were the one who wrote that on Twitter, how to spot a fake liberal. So there you have a fake liberal right away. So the problem, Shivani, is here everything is happening as per law. This was raised by an officer of Delhi's own
Vigilance Department.
Vigilance Department, exactly.
Yes.
So when the law is followed, even in the classroom scam, it was again raised by the Vigilance Department. AAP, despite all this snooping, they feel they are coming to terms with people from their own departments who are raising complaints.
Can I say,
and they have not,
fundamentally, this is a party that believed in probity in politics, right?
Exactly.
This party is supposed to be held to those standards. Forget, you can't shoot off other parties' shoulders and say and use that as a defense.
Shivani, when you have poor defenses, when you lose credibility, all you can do is shout from rooftops.
Okay, let him come in now. Let him come in now. Let both Irsan and Sanjay ji come in. I have to go across to OP cycle in just a bit. Yes, Irsan, 30 seconds, please.
I just want to tell you that, I mean, BJP is, whenever the question to be asked to Narendra Modi, then the Modi sir always says the Congress ne kuch nahi kiya. Now they don't answer about their issues. Now, same things they are, I mean, Bharatiya Janata Party, same thing doing in this, I mean, Delhi government also. I mean, since MCD election, they are trying hard to prove, they are trying to probe Manish Sisodia and all other leaders, but unfortunately they couldn't find anything. So every day they were video propaganda party, and again they have another propaganda. I mean, I just want to ask them one simple question. If somebody asks about feedback, I mean, if you have done something and if somebody asks about your feedback to other person, how it will turn into snooping? Why you are discrediting everything to
This
snooping, sir?
man
You
is
have ED,
justifying,
you have
this man
CBI,
here
but I mean
is
that
justifying
why
an
if somebody is going to
extrajudicial
snooping, what
AAP
the,
body.
I mean,
Can you imagine
what
the
is
mental
agenda of
hypocrisy
Bharatiya
of this
Janata
gentleman?
Party? Somebody
He is
cannot
justifying
ask about
snooping.
anything.
Okay.
That is
Somebody
how
cannot ask
low the
about
argument has
what work they
descended.
have done or
Now
One by
you
one,
keep
please.
speaking
Okay, you
ad
made your
nauseum.
point.
Bharatiya
Irsan's,
Janata
one second.
Party in MPs
Irsan's
Irfan, can I
fundamental
please
point
speak?
is, please lower
and
their
nothing
audio.
but the
Irsan's
corruption.
fundamental
Now it is
point
being
is that this
generated.
is essentially a feedback unit. All it was doing is
Now
giving
can I
feedback.
answer this,
That's
Shivani?
not
Can I come
equated
in,
to
Shivani?
snooping.
Can I answer this, Shivani?
Yes, one second. The charge of snooping, sir, is not coming by BJP or by people who are
He
objecting
doesn't
to
get
this
it.
feedback unit. This feedback unit was set up
Yeah.
in 2015. This was first raised by a member of the Vigilance Department.
Correct.
Probe was initiated
Correct.
by the CBI on that complaint. Please understand. I want to bring
He's
in.
not ready to understand.
No, one
Shivani,
second.
he
I want
won't
to
understand.
One second. I want to go bring in OP Sehgal. He hasn't spoken. Apart from the fact that there are now charges of snooping, quote unquote, against political rivals, individuals of interest, and government bodies, etc., coming to light, this very agency, Mr. Sehgal, is said to be outside the bounds of constitutional scheme of governance. There is a the chief minister tabled this agenda without circulating a cabinet note. The employees were hired on non-existent posts without approval, and there is disregard of financial propriety. So it's not just about what this unit was doing. This very setting up of this unit is under question.
Yes, you see, snooping is something which any government has to do, but it has to be done under guidelines which laid down by law. Now the Home Ministry has this power. You can snoop, you can sort of telephone calls XYZ, you can do all that, but there is a provision laid down in a particular law. There is a law passed for this. Under the Telecom Act, if you have to tap a telephone. Under various other acts, you cannot act outside the law. Now here, you have a vigilance department, okay? You have an anti-corruption department, okay? Now police is outside the purview of the state government, so they are not like a full state. Police is outside their purviews, anti-corruption comes under the police. So the Supreme Court has also held that anti-corruption will not be part of their of the Delhi government. So it is out of the government. So it could not be an anti-corruption complaint. Anti-corruption department in any case comes into operation only after a case is registered. They cannot start snooping and find out cases. What is the vigilance department trying to do? Because there are various government agencies, let us say the CAG. What does it do? It snoops. It goes into government files and it finds out mistakes and it publishes them. So all that the vigilance department has to do is pick up one of the vigilance reports, a CAG report, and try to find out why that irregularity has been committed, whether there is a corruption involved in that or not.
Yes.
Now what is being done here is wrong on all counts. Number one, the Delhi government has no power to start this sort of thing, snooping. That's with the Home Ministry or with the Ministry of various states. You have the IB, which is set up for this purpose of snooping. Now they operate under certain rules and regulations. Now you suddenly set up something, you create, without creating any posts, you set up 1 crore of these apart.
Yeah.
Then what are you doing? And then I don't know all the details. Now you have just mentioned, so I am going by that if such people have been recruited, those rules have been broken. There is a certain procedure to recruit people in the government.
Absolutely.
You can't just pick up anyone.
On top
It is
of
not
that, the initial idea could have been that they're going to trap certain workers or officials of the Delhi bureaucracy, whatever departments come under the Delhi government, trap them if there is any corruption going on. That's fine. That goes on.
That's just me. I'll come on that point. I'll just take 1 minute on that.
Yeah.
I won't take much time. The point is, this also is a procedure laid down.
Exactly.
How do you trap people? You can't trap people just like that. There has to be a complaint in writing. It has to be to the CBI if it is against a gazetted officer of the central government. It has to be to the anti-corruption department. It can't just start it by any individual that you start snooping, I'll catch this corrupt fellow. Sometimes newspapers do it. But then newspapers are a fifth estate. They have also certain rights.
There is
they
a
have
certain different
duties and
element as far as the press
responsibilities.
sting cases are concerned, but obviously government departments cannot function like that. But the point I was making, sir, is that it may be initially you could have
function under
justified
the
it
law.
when you set it up by saying that we want to do this. But the biggest thing is that the CBI has found on a complaint by a member of the Vigilance Department that actually that's not what was going on. What was going on is that private individuals and political rivals, issues which are more political than of governance, were being snooped upon. Yes, Sanjay Mishra, you wanted to come in. I'll give you 30 seconds before I wrap up. This is something that the party will eventually have to explain. This is serious. संजय मिश्रा, आपसे पूछ रही हूँ.
हाँ, बिल्कुल. मैं ये कहना चाहता हूँ, जितनी भी बातें चारू ने अभी कही हैं या जो भी आम आदमी पार्टी के लिए बोला जा रहा है, देखिए सिंपल सी बात है, आपका भी यही सवाल है. आरोप लगे हैं, आरोप हैं, आरोप का जांच कौन करेगा?
सीबीआई करेगी.
जिसको जांच करना है, जांच एजेंसियां हैं, जांच करे, उससे हम कहीं नहीं भाग रहे हैं. लेकिन सवाल उठता है, और सवाल क्या है और क्यों विश्वसनीयता खोई है यहाँ की सीबीआई, ईडी या जो भी एजेंसीज हैं. आम आदमी पार्टी बार बार क्यों कहती है, जब आप आम आदमी पार्टी के विधायकों के ऊपर, सांसदों के ऊपर 167 केस दर्ज करते हैं, उसमें से 134 से ऊपर केसेस कोर्ट खारिज कर देता है. सबसे पहली बात, आपने सत्येंद्र जैन को लेकर के आप आए हैं, सत्येंद्र जैन को बेल क्यों नहीं मिल रहा है? बेल कौन देगा? कोर्ट देगा. आज कोर्ट कहता है कि एविडेंस लेकर के आओ, नहीं तो मैं सत्येंद्र जैन को बेल दे दूंगा. आप कोर्ट बदलवा देते हैं. ठीक है, आपकी सरकार है, आप बदलिए. लेकिन मैं एक सवाल करना चाहता हूं शिवानी, क्यों नहीं सरकार के ऊपर मुकुल रॉय और शुभेंदु अधिकारी, दो लोग बंगाल से टीएमसी के लीडर हैं. मुकुल रॉय के ऊपर क्या आरोप लगे थे? वो बीजेपी में आते हैं, आरोप खत्म हो जाता है, वापिस टीएमसी में जाते हैं.
संजय मिश्रा जी, ये सारी बातें आप रख सकते हैं, लेकिन जो आम आदमी पार्टी के ऊपर जो इल्जाम लगे हैं, दिल्ली गवर्नमेंट पे इल्जाम लगे, पार्टी भूल जाइए, पार्टी के इंडिविजुअल्स भूल जाइए, गवर्नमेंट पे जो इल्जाम लगे हैं वो एक्सप्लेन करना जरूरी है. They cannot be wished away by what about it? चारू प्रज्ञा, 30 seconds only, 30 seconds.
आप मेरे को 10 सेकंड दीजिएगा.
जी बोलिए मिश्रा जी.
बिल्कुल 30 सेकंड आप दीजिए, मैं क्लियर करता हूं. आज देश के प्रधानमंत्री के ऊपर आरोप लग रहे हैं, संसद के अंदर आरोप लग रहे हैं,
तो आप भी
उनकी
तो वही कर रहे हैं.
में आरोप लग रहे हैं.
आपका क्या मॉरल हाई ग्राउंड है? आप भी तो वही कर रहे हैं. आप तो पॉलिटिक्स बदलने के लिए आए थे ना. मैं तो बिल्कुल ऊब गई हूँ ये सुन के कि ये क्या कर रहे हैं, वो क्या कर रहे हैं. आप तो पॉलिटिक्स बदलने के लिए आए थे.
पार्टी शिक्षा,
ये नहीं चलेगा.
रोजगार की बात करती है,
ये नहीं चलेगा. आप जो
भारतीय
इल्जाम
जनता
दूसरों
पार्टी
पे लगाते हैं,
नहीं कर पा रही है.
अरविंद
केजरीवाल और आम आदमी पार्टी की देश में बढ़ती लोकप्रियता को भारतीय जनता पार्टी हजम नहीं कर पा रही है. 2024 में अपने सामने अरविंद केजरीवाल को देख करके नरेंद्र मोदी घबरा गए. भारतीय जनता पार्टी के अंदर
टाइम खत्म हो रहा है.
संजय जी, यहाँ पर आप चुनाव में भाषण नहीं दे रहे हैं, मेरी बारी है अब बोलने की. शिवानी, नंबर 1, whenever Bharatiya Janata Party accuses Aam Aadmi Party of any scam, we don't do it just because we feel like doing it. We back it with RTI replies which are written by officers working within the Aam Aadmi Party government. So we back it up with facts. Every single time they cannot get away with it. Secondly, if they are talking about fingers being pointed at our honorable prime minister in parliament, let me remind him 18 of those claims were already found to be fake, false and a lie. Rahul Gandhi lied on the floor of the house, and he's here on national television.
I can't get into that debate. I can't get into that debate at all. I'll give 10 seconds to Karan and me only, please. Karan.
You know, the AAP supporter just said that the court is not giving him relief. I am quoting the court right now, the magistrate court saying, Satyendra Jain prima facie has criminal antecedents.
Okay.
तो सर थोड़ा पढ़ लीजिए. prima facie कोर्ट ने कहा है सत्येंद्र जैन के क्रिमिनल काम है. अगर आपने इतना दम है, FIR कोर्ट करिए, कोर्ट से रिलीफ लेके आइए.
All right, leaving it at that. Fundamentally, this debate is not about Satyendra Jain or the other previous cases. It is about what is lying in store now for the Delhi government. I do thank all of our guests for joining us. Moving on, in its recent charge sheet against 5 members of the banned Popular Front of India, Maharashtra Anti-Terrorism Squad has claimed that the group was indeed working towards establishing Islamic rule in India. Now, this is not the first time this charge has been made against the organization. A similar load came into the hands of the Bihar police when they busted a PFI module in July 2022, which was before their ban. CNN News 18 has accessed this Maharashtra anti-terror squad charge sheet. This shows PFI's internal document which detailed a plan to establish Islamic rule in India by 2047 with detailed steps of how to achieve it. It also says that the 5 accused wanted to create disaffection and hatred against a religion by spreading disinformation amongst Muslim youths. The documents further reveal that the group aimed at disrupting Hindu organizations such as the RSS. This apart from using Muslim youth for violence in the country with arms training and taking money from overseas to fund their activity. So the main headline is the Rule of Islam plan hatched by the PFI. So what does this charge sheet reveal on that front? Now this booklet was seized from Mazhar Mansoor Khan's phone. He's one of the accused and functionary of the PFI. The document is titled, there's a picture of that on our graphics, India 2047 Towards Rule of Islam in India. It's pretty clear. Document was also marked as internal, not for circulation. We wonder why. And the document goes on to explain the steps needed to achieve this. So one of the steps is that you have to bring the Muslim community together under the PFI umbrella. The community has to be brought together. It cannot be splintered into various groups. Tell Muslims that they are under threat. They are being mistreated. The whole Muslim genocide, the whole Muslims under threat in India and all of that narrative. They wanted to disrupt Hindu organizations like the RSS, as I mentioned. They wanted to engineer a collapse of the police and judiciary in India. It even talks about, quote, infiltrating these arms of governance and then engineer their collapse. Get financial help from Islamic countries to fund activities. Use PFI cadre to create violence in India. Remember, PFI has been accused and has been found to be running training camps for youths with weapons. Interestingly, they also talk about using SC, ST tribals. So basically part of the non-minority community to vote for PFI candidates. And I'm talking about elections here. Their literature also says that they only need 10% of Muslims in India to bring about this change. They don't need to be a majority in terms of population. The Rule of Islam plan came out in public earlier also, and I've mentioned, but the new sensational revelation is how PFI twisted the recent Agnipath scheme launched by the government for its anti-India agenda. So this chart sheet also has a WhatsApp note with the title Agnipath. Basically, the chart sheet shows a WhatsApp note which was circulated possibly between members. That note is titled Agnipath or a Sena of Sangi Monkeys. This is paraphrasing, of course, because this note is in Hindi. What this note then does, it's like an article of sorts. It compares Agnipath's policy to the devil Israel's policy, where everyone does mandatory military service for a while. It says that this scheme, the Agnipath scheme, is basically preparing an army of rioters. It also profusely uses the RSS name and basically suggests that it is the RSS plan to execute, quote, a Muslim genocide in India because they cannot use the army as it stands. It then asks Muslims to come together and fight. It says, if you are Sunni, then like the Hamas. If Wahhabi, then like the Jihadi Islami. If Shia, then like the Hezbollah. Come to the field, come to the battleground. Interestingly, it also says that we should get more Muslims enrolled into this scheme so that we can build a new India. We all know the kind of India they were preparing to build. The anti-India plot is clear. The agenda was always known. The PFI is even banned in India now. But the big question we ask today, is the threat of the Rule of Islam plan, violence in India, etc., is that threat truly gone with the PFI ban?
PFI ने एक ऐसा प्रोग्राम तैयार किया कि उसके साथ कुछ सालों बाद पूरा हिंदुस्तान एक इस्लामिक राष्ट्र को, ऐसा उनका प्लान है।
Guest joining us, Sushant Sareen, Senior Fellow, ORF, Aarti Agarwal is author and researcher, Atikur Rahman, Islamic scholar, Danish Qureshi, political analyst of the AIMIM wing. Danish, why don't I start with you? You know, for the longest time, people were raising objections against the PFI for exactly these reasons. But there were a whole host of people, including political parties like the AIMIM, that often use the Muslim victimhood, the fact that Muslims are being trampled upon, or, you know, their activities are being curbed, to defend what the likes of PFI were doing. But actually, if you look at it, you look at their literature, what they were attempting to do, they are the biggest enemies of Muslims in India, pitching Muslims against India and the rest of Indians. I wonder why this organization was being defended tooth and nail till they were banned in September last year.
I think nobody has defended an organization. Hello.
Yes, go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
Okay. तो कोई भी डिफेंड नहीं कर रहा ऐसे ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को, लेकिन दिक्कत क्या है, सरकार के जब सिलेक्टिव वो हो जाते हैं एक्शन, तब प्रॉब्लम होता है. दे आर नॉट टेकिंग एक्शन अगेंस्ट द पीपल दोज हु वांट टू गिव द शार्पनेस टू द नाइफ to cut rather than vegetables. They are not taking action against the people to stop to buy the products from the stalls of the Muslim minority. That is the main problem. Although PFI proceedings is under before the court and let the court decide. Today it has been investigated by the investigative agency and not by the judgment of any court of law. Second thing, the accused of key terror, there are some people, those who are the member of parliament of the ruling party. The BJP has not keeping safe distance from such action. So these are the problems.
But Danish, don't you think there's a fundamental problem when you compare an individual statement to an organization which is very openly in its internal literature or even outside hatching a conspiracy and waging a war against India itself? I mean, I don't think the two are comparable. Individuals are separate, an organization is separate.
This is not about the accountability. We have saw how the Sansad had taken a plan. Those who were planning to kill the 20 lakh Muslim in our country. What are the actions have been taken against that?
अरे but they were booked. आप ही लॉ की बात कर रहे हैं ना, आप ही कोर्ट की बात कर रहे हैं पीएफआई के केस में कि पीएफआई को कोर्ट ने नहीं मुजरिम दिया है तो उनके अगेंस्ट भी तो एफआईआर हुई है. अब उसका भी वेट कीजिए
कि क्या जो एफआईआर हुई है वो सफिशिएंट है. जो खुले में ये कह रहे थे कि 20
लाख, तो आप बताइए क्या करें, आप बताइए क्या करें.
नहीं, कोई और अगर होता तो अब तक तो यूपीए में होता. वो क्या कोई है यूपीए में?
तो यूएपीए हो जाएगा तो ठीक हो जाएगा.
नहीं, यूएपीए क्यों आ जाएगा? आपके एक्शन
Aren't you from the AIMIM wing which is against the UAPA? Asaduddin Owaisi day in and day out criticizes the UAPA.
This is not about the favoring or the objecting on UAPA. This is all about the actions taken by the government. Not a single statement has been come from the Prime Minister against the member of parliament who जो सब्जी से ज्यादा और कुछ काटने की बात कर रही थी.
अच्छा, पर मैं आपसे एक सवाल पूछना चाहती हूँ बिफोर आई गो टू आवर अदर गेस्ट. मेरा सवाल आपसे क्या था, पीएफआई जैसी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन एक्चुअली जो भारतीय मुस्लिम हैं उनके लिए सबसे ज्यादा प्रॉब्लमैटिक है क्योंकि वो भारतीय मुस्लिम को रेडिकलाइज कर रही हैं, अपने देश के खिलाफ वॉर वेज करने के लिए सिखा रही हैं. उनके लिटरेचर में ये भी लिखा है कि आप पहले मुसलमान हैं, बाद में इंडियन हैं. आपकी सिर्फ एक ही आइडेंटिटी है कि आप मुसलमान हैं, आपको दीन के लिए काम करना है और आपका एक ही मिशन है कि पूरे दुनिया में इस्लाम का रूल होना चाहिए वगैरह वगैरह. आप क्या मानते हैं कि ऐसी लीडरशिप चाहिए क्या मुसलमानों को भारत में? क्या लीडरशिप चाहिए?
देखिए, मुझे लगता है कि जो भी कुछ चीजें हैं वो कोर्ट के सामने रखी गई हैं और जिस तरीके से मैंने कहा कि एक्शन आपको प्रॉपर लेने पड़ेंगे. अगर आपका एक्शन लेने में ड्यूअल स्टैंडर्ड है तब तो प्रॉब्लम है. किसी प्रदेश के मुख्यमंत्री ये कहते हैं कि देश का धर्म सनातन है, कोई एक्शन होगा उनके खिलाफ? नहीं होगा. क्या इस देश का धर्म सनातन है? नहीं है. लेकिन फिर भी ये कहा जाता है. आप
समझ नहीं रहे हैं. एक इंडिविजुअल आदमी का ओपिनियन एक चीज होती है. प्लीज अंडरस्टैंड द डिफरेंस. दिस इज नॉट द सेम थिंग. आई कैन नॉट अलाउ दिस टू हैपन. यू आर अगेन with these arguments and comparisons defending an organization like the PFI.
पीएफआई के ऊपर आरोप हैं 2047 तक देश को इस्लामिक राष्ट्र बनाने के. आप गुजरात में आए, आपको हर चौराहे पे हिंदू राष्ट्र के प्रखंड में आपका स्वागत है ऐसे बोर्ड लगे हैं. तो क्या वीएचपी की कार्रवाई हुई अभी तक या होगी?
बट क्या उसके लिए वो धमाके कर रहे हैं? क्या उसके लिए वो लोगों को काट रहे हैं जैसे पीएफआई करती है?
tenet of our constitution. India is not an Indian doesn't belong to any religion.
Okay, one second. You're not understanding. Along with the idea that India will be ruled by Islam, there are activities and actions planned which are terror activities. But anyways, you know, Sushant, I wanted to come to you. What I find really important in this discussion is the PFI is already banned, of course. So I have a twofold question to you. In their literature, it says very clearly we have to tell Muslims again and again that this government is against you, this country is against you, that you are being mistreated. And we've seen even civil sections of civil society, you know, furthering this agenda of Muslim genocide in India. I feel frankly, anyone who furthers this narrative that there is some Muslim genocide in India needs to be acted upon. That is one. And secondly, do you think that the threat that the PFI posed goes away with their ban and whatever their plans were? Sushant.
Shivani, no, the threat does not go away. In fact, I think the threat has just been highlighted with this particular charge sheet. And there will be many more such threats going forward for precisely the reason which is there in your first question. And the reason is, like the gentleman from the AIMIM, that's a dog whistle what he is doing. You know, the courts have not done it. When the courts finally, even the Supreme Court finally, sentences a man to death, then they question the court. So they will never accept that there is something wrong which is happening. And then what they try and do is draw false equivalences. Now, I'm very clear in my mind. If there is any organization, regardless of the denomination of that organization, even if it's a Hindu organization, yeah, somebody can say that, yes, India should be an Islamic state. But is that India is a Hindu state? Is that somebody saying that we need to infiltrate into the government and sabotage it from within? That we need to recruit people and, undermine the entire state system? That we need to give armed training to people and then, carry out terrorist acts? Is it somebody saying that we need to get funds from foreign countries or Islamic or any non-Islamic country to carry out these activities?
Exactly.
Now, if anybody is saying that, I am very clear, you need to book them under the same provisions of law. But if somebody is making a wild rant or somebody has an opinion, I might have an opinion that yes, the basic ethos of India is Hinduism, right? Or the Sanatan Dharma. Nobody can take umbrage at that. Somebody might not agree with me and they're free not to agree with me. They're free not to agree with me.
Yeah, that's not the same as waging a war against the country.
Exactly. That's, the two are entirely different things. Yeah. And the charge sheet is very clear that this organization, and forget the charge sheet, Shivani, look at the track record of this organization.
Absolutely.
Look at the kind of violence this organization has perpetrated. Look at the links of this organization with other terror groups, not just in India, but outside India. Look at the kind of networks these guys have developed and the kind of activities they were indulging in. You add all of that up, this was a very sinister agenda, but this was just one organization. And thankfully, the government has acted, I would say, very late, but nevertheless, they have acted against it.
But what about those, Sushant, who give intellectual cover fire for exactly what the PFI uses to radicalize Muslims in India? That there's some Muslim genocide going on.
Shivani, that is the standard operating procedure, isn't it? We've seen that in Kashmir, haven't we? That there was the underground and then there was the overground which was backing the underground, giving the intellectual cover fire. The so-called ecosystem. These are the gentleman, for example, the kind of it's very disingenuous what he's saying. But this is the kind of intellectual cover fire, the kind of deflection he's doing, the kind of dog whistle he's doing on this particular show. Always trying to, draw these false equivalences, trying to sow doubts. He could just as well come out and publicly say that nothing that the PFI stands for do we agree with. Yes, you can have a problem with the ruling party.
Absolutely.
Many people do, and they're entitled to have a problem with the ruling party
but why
and its ideology and its affiliates. But does that mean that you are going to start waging war against the country?
Exactly.
And if
no,
you are,
why do you even want to be seen?
Wage war against you.
Why do you even want to be seen as, even with ifs and buts, supporting an organization like the PFI? That's my fundamental question. Atikur Rahman, I mentioned that there is also a WhatsApp note which twisted the entire Agnipath scheme to absolutely vulgar proportions. in that WhatsApp note, which I'm sure was circulated to members and otherwise, it said that Agnipath was a scheme preparing for a Muslim genocide. When are we going to act against people who just drop this term willy-nilly to radicalize and upset Indian Muslims? This is absolutely untenable. No country can allow this kind of chatter by people in civil society that, you know, an entire community is being killed, which we know is not true.
Shivani, the access I have to my community, the Muslims of India, I can assure you that so far, any organization in India, if they are working with the constitutional limits, with the governmental, you know, dictates, with everything what has been said and done in Parliament of India, only then the Muslims will be supporting such organization. I was the one who have time and again said that and supported PFI. Now it is banned. And I go by the verdict of the Government of India that a banned organization needs to be called for question in the court of law. The charge sheet had been filed. Let them defend themselves. If they can defend themselves, well and good. We will continue our support. So far, they are held guilty by the courts. I can assure you, no Muslim will be supporting any organization.
Sushant Sareen has just mentioned. No, but let's face it, Atikur Rahman, we need to face this uncomfortable question. Sushant mentioned terrorists who have been sentenced to death in India by courts of law. We've seen what has happened on those cases. This is the problem.
Yeah, I would like to comment upon Mr. Sareen's comments. Shivani, Mr. Sareen, the same things we were discussing for Shaljir Imam also, for Safura Zargar also. Now they are today freed by the courts. And not only freed, Shivani, the court has said that they have been made scapegoats by the police. What you have to say about this?
I think the Delhi police has gone back to court.
PFI and the court rules out.
The Delhi police has gone back to court against that judgment.
If the court opines...
Shivani.
Yeah. I have limited time, Sushant, please, 30 seconds.
That's a different story.
Okay, fair enough. I got your point.
That's a different story.
Sushant, you know, nobody is answering my question of how dangerous this narrative that there is some Muslim genocide taking place in India. And I feel, frankly, anyone seen participating in this narrative needs to be booked. Yes, go ahead, Sushant Sareen.
No, my only question to Mr. Atikur Rahman is that hasn't he heard the kind of rabble-rousing which this guy, Sharjeel Imam, was doing and some of these other people were doing? Wasn't he aware of it? Does he endorse that? Does he agree to it? And if that is the reason why he is apprehended and he is being booked, and among other things, there are other charges against him, yes, maybe a court of law has said it. But did you not hear what he said? Did you not hear what this other fellow, that despicable character from JNU, I forget his name, Umar something. Don't you remember what he said? Is it okay for you to live in this country, eat this country's thing, become citizens of this country and said, Bharat tere tukde honge? Is that acceptable?
Okay. Can I just say, you know, exactly, one second. Sharjeel Imam was caught on camera saying that let's break off the chicken neck and separate the Northeast from the rest of India. That is
so you don't believe in the courts, that means?
No, that's not what that's not what he's saying.
You
but I do feel that Muslim victimhood. I have limited time. Atikur Rahman, 1 second. Aarti Agarwal has not spoken. I do feel Muslim victimhood cannot be used. 1 second. Sushant, Muslim victimhood cannot be used as an excuse for raising questions over the integrity, structurally, territorially and otherwise of India. That's as simple as that. Victimhood cannot justify it. Post-CAA agitations, we have seen repeatedly this victimhood being used to really threaten India's, you know, peace and it's also its territorial integrity. I have very limited time. Aarti, I'll give you the final comment.
Thank you, Shivani. So, you know, we know that PFI has terror links with, you know, all the famous terror organizations in India, whether it is ISIS, Al-Qaeda, LET. You know, so I see so much of hand waving on the side of the Islamic scholars saying, oh, Muslims don't support this. And then in the same breath, in the same line, literally, They go on to say that, we are still against the politicization, and, this is not something which is blah, 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 whatever he said. Everything he said is just hand waving, in my personal opinion. And what the evidence we have found so far of terror links, of PFI links with the Delhi riots, of PFI links and all the other riots which has happened in the last 1 year, it is just evidence. We have evidence in front of us. So, and that evidence warrants action on the part of the government as well as the courts, because we know that just a ban on PFI is not sufficient. It is SIMI which eventually refashioned itself and remodeled itself into PFI. So, just a ban alone is not enough, because they have other methods of funneling funds into India from outside India to continue these kind of activities and then claim victimhood. So they do both the things in the same breath, literally. They keep claiming that we will make you an Islamic state, we'll impose Sharia on you, we will make this a Muslim dominant country. And in the same breath, they also claim that we are also victims somehow. We are also facing discrimination. So, this kind of hand waving is something I completely find
problematic. No, I do believe that actually more problematic. This is not just a governmental and legal action. There has to be a societal response to such activities going on between us. Can I mention, for the benefit of our viewers, there are two interesting things. One, there is a note of what all quote-unquote weapons should be kept at home, including, patthar eat on the rooftops, petrol, kerosene, and it's all very nicely worded कि गाड़ी में पेट्रोल खत्म हो जाए किसी दिन तो आपके घर में 10 लीटर पेट्रोल होना चाहिए, गाड़ी नहीं है तो आप केरोसिन रखो, चूल्हा चलाने के लिए केरोसिन होना चाहिए. ये सब मिला है सर व्हाट्सएप नोट्स में. Secondly, very cleverly, PFI literature says that, use the name of Ambedkar, Constitution, etc. to bring people into your fold. Don't divulge your real intentions. I leave it at that. I've run out of time. I do thank all of our guests for joining us. On that note, a short break. On the other side, some of the day's biggest stories.
Defend its legitimate rights and the interests of the enterprise involved, which could help it make the case that the government was not directly involved in launching this balloon. China has also refused a conversation with U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin. In his State of the Union address, U.S. President Joe Biden made a reference to this Chinese balloon episode.
I'm committed to work with China where we can advance American interests and benefit the world, but make no mistake about it. As we made clear last week, if China threatens our sovereignty, we will act to protect our country, and we did.
Now, according to the United States, China's fleet of spy balloons have targeted several countries, including India. As per the Washington Post, the surveillance balloon effort has operated for several years now, partly out of the Hainan province, which is in the southern coast of China. They have collected information on military assets in other countries and areas of emerging strategic interest to China, including the Indo-Pacific, India, Japan, and of course the thorny issue of Taiwan. These surveillance airships are operated in part by the People's Liberation Army. They have been spotted over at least 5 continents. They are part of China's fleet of balloons developed to conduct surveillance operations, and they have violated the sovereignty of other countries apart from the United States. So, could the popping of a balloon turn into a watershed moment in the rivalry between the United States and China? The balloon crisis could exacerbate already tense ties where the US and Chinese forces have come into very close contact, including over the South China Sea. US officials are increasingly worried that Chinese state companies may be assisting Russia's military effort against Ukraine by providing technology and semiconductors, which may raise the pressure for action by the White House. The Biden administration is already expected to create a body to review outbound US investments into China the next few months, and the new Republican House Speaker Kevin McCarthy is expected to follow in the footsteps of his Democratic predecessor Nancy Pelosi with a visit to Taiwan later this year. Days after the US shot down a suspected Chinese spy balloon, the first images of the debris were released by the US Navy. The balloon, it was around 200 feet tall. Just wrap your head around that figure, 200 feet high. It was shot down early Saturday morning as it floated off the coast of South Carolina. The US Navy is using underwater drones, warships, inflatable vessels to try and retrieve whatever pieces they can from this balloon. The debris are now being taken to an FBI lab in Virginia to analyze the capabilities of this balloon. What could it possibly what danger could it have possibly meant for the United States and for US citizens. Remember, the US insists that the balloon was used by the Chinese military for spying. While China has acknowledged that the balloon was indeed Chinese, they have called it a weather balloon that had blown off course. Now, this balloon has caused a serious diplomatic face-off between the US and China. Just take a look at the series of events over the last 10 days. The balloon first entered American airspace towards the end of January, flying around the southern tip of Alaska. It then entered Canadian airspace to then float back into American airspace. It made its way over Montana, which is home to the Malmstrom Air Force Base, which is one of the 3 sites which operates and maintains the silo-based intercontinental ballistic missiles. Now, the balloon also cast a shadow over U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken's planned visit to Beijing. He was supposed to go there on the 3rd of February. Just hours before his departure, Blinken decided to postpone his trip. According to the U.S. State Department, the surveillance balloon had undermined the very purpose of the trip. The following day, the United States military shot down the balloon as it hovered over the Atlantic Ocean off the coast of South Carolina. A single missile fired from an F-22 Raptor stealth fighter jet brought down the balloon, which had been flying at about 60,000 to 65,000 feet. Remember, normal aircraft fly about 30 to 40,000 feet. This was flying about 20,000 feet higher. All flights were grounded in North and South Carolina shortly before the shooting down of the balloon. Now, Chinese President Xi Jinping currently has his hands full with domestic problems like the fallout of his zero-COVID policy, and perhaps he doesn't want to drag out the dispute with the United States, which could explain the rather muted reaction from China to the balloon being shot down. China claimed that the United States is using armed force to bring down the balloon, and that is an excessive reaction. It expressed strong discontent and protest against the U.S. action. The Chinese have also accused the United States of violating international norms by shooting down the balloon, but made no mention of the violation of international law. China has also said it would defend its legitimate rights in the interests of the enterprise involved, which could help it make the case that the government was not directly involved in launching this balloon. China has also refused a conversation with U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin. In his State of the Union address, U.S. President Joe Biden made a reference to this Chinese balloon episode.
I'm committed to work with China where we can advance American interests and benefit the world, but make no mistake about it. As we made clear last week, if China threatens our sovereignty, we will act to protect our country, and we did.
Now, according to the United States, China's fleet of spy balloons have targeted several countries, including India. As per the Washington Post, the surveillance balloon effort has operated for several years now, partly out of the Hainan province, which is in the southern coast of China. They have collected information on military assets in other countries and areas of emerging strategic interest to China, including the Indo-Pacific, India, Japan, and of course the thorny issue of Taiwan. These surveillance airships are operated in part by the People's Liberation Army. They have been spotted over at least 5 continents. They are part of China's fleet of balloons developed to conduct surveillance operations, and they have violated the sovereignty of other countries apart from the United States. So, could the popping of a balloon turn into a watershed moment in the rivalry between the United States and China? The balloon crisis could exacerbate already tense ties where the US and Chinese forces have come into very close contact, including over the South China Sea. US officials are increasingly worried that Chinese state companies may be assisting Russia's military effort against Ukraine by providing technology and semiconductors, which may raise the pressure for action by the White House. The Biden administration is already expected to create a body to review outbound U.S. investments into China the next few months. And the new Republican House Speaker, Kevin McCarthy, is expected to follow in the footsteps of his Democratic predecessor, Nancy Pelosi, with a visit to Taiwan later this year. Days after the U.S. shot down a suspected Chinese spy balloon, the first images of the debris were released by the U.S. Navy. The balloon
A quick check of some updates we've been tracking. Death toll post-earthquakes in Turkey and Syria is now over 16,000. Rescues, though, are providing some glimmers of hope. 2 women were pulled out alive after being buried for 72 hours. U.S. House of Representatives Committee grilled former Twitter executives for hours over accusations of curbing tweets and posts against President Biden's son, Hunter Biden. The hours-long hearing also included questions over COVID-related shadow banning. India trailed by 100 runs after Australia elected to bat first on day one of the first test of the Border Gavaskar Trophy in Nagpur. Australia were bowled out for 177, with comeback man Jadeja picking up 5 wickets. In response, India ended day one on 77 for 1, with KL Rahul back in the pavilion. Rohit Sharma not out at 56. Ashwin was sent in at number 3. And we leave you with a doting father helping his daughter during her dance recital. Thanks a lot for watching.
उछालोगे कमल उतना ही ज्यादा खिलेगा। हम जानते थे ये कठिन काम इन्होंने छोड़ दिए हैं। हमने कहा हम तो मक्खन पे लकीर करने वाले नहीं, पत्थर पे लकीर करने वाले लोग हैं। हम इस चुनौती को भी उठाएंगे। क्या शर्मिंदगी है नेहरू सरनेम रखने से, क्या शर्मिंदगी है। ये देश किसी परिवार की जागीर नहीं है। 90 बार चुनी हुई सरकारों को गिरा दिया। देश देख रहा है एक अकेला कितनों को भारी पड़ रहा है। एक अकेला कितनों को भारी पड़ रहा है।
Hello everyone, you're watching News Epicenter with me, Maria Shakil. It was round 2 of the Prime Minister's reply in Parliament. He trained his guns at the opposition in the Rajya Sabha with a series of stinging attacks. The Prime Minister said that the opposition's charges will not deter his government's Vikas mission, saying the lotus always blooms in the mud. He said the government has delivered in 9 years what the Congress could not in 60, claiming the welfare of tribals, women, the poor and the farmers was ignored for several decades. The Prime Minister said the mantra of Vikas for all and appeasement of none continues to anger the opposition as the nation still chooses the BJP. After listing the government's achievements, the Prime Minister took a direct shot at the Congress, accusing it of treating the nation as its ancestral property. He also said that the Congress cannot hold sermons on democracy as it used Article 356 around 90 times to dismiss state governments and peddles conspiracies which have repeatedly been rejected by the voters. In a thundering finale, the Prime Minister threw down the gauntlet in a direct message to the opposition, saying, "Ek aadmi sab pe bhari pad gaya hai." This scathing attack comes as the opposition demands a JPC investigation into the Adani matter, accusing the government of conspiracy. This even after clarifications from the LIC, the SBI, the Reserve Bank of India and the Finance Minister, and assurances that public money is safe and the banking sector is robust. The big question is, in response to allegations and conjectures from the opposition camp, has the Prime Minister blunted the offensive in the larger political fight? Joining me on the show, Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi, BJP MP, Amar Patnaik, BJD MP, Kalanidhi Veeraswamy is DMK MP, Adil Singh Boparai representing the Congress, and Professor Sanjay Kumar of the CSDS. I'm going to begin with Adil Singh Boparai. Are you fighting purely on conjectures, or do you have hard evidence to substantiate all those charges that were being made, particularly in the Rajya Sabha today while the Prime Minister was speaking. There was a lot of sloganeering that happened.
Well, Maria, first and foremost, what I saw was brazen display of narcissism. What I saw was I, me, myself. India is a country of 1.4 billion people, 140 crore people. We should not lose sight of that fact, number one. Number two, there are three compelling issues standing before the country today. Number one, price rise. Every citizen, including you and I, are feeling the brunt of price rise of essential commodities. Number two, rising unemployment. And number three, and the most critical out of the lot, is the largest and arguably the biggest stock market scam of Asia, which is the Adani scam. Now, let me, for the benefit of your viewers, tell them that the UK regulator has already ordered an investigation against a company called Clara International, which is allegedly used by the Adanis to fund money into the Indian Stock Exchange. The world has noticed this. International stock markets have stopped taking Adanis as margin calls or collaterals.
Okay.
Banks like Citibank started.
Since you are talking about the Adani enterprise, let's now listen in to all that Prime Minister said, and I'm going to go back to all the guests in just a bit.
No, you haven't let me complete.
इतने महत्वपूर्ण सदन में कुछ लोगों का व्यवहार, कुछ लोगों की वाणी न सिर्फ सदन को लेकिन देश को निराश करने वाली रही। इस प्रकार की वृत्ति प्रवृत्ति के माननीय सदस्यों को मैं यही कहूंगा, कीचड़ उसके पास था, कीचड़ उसके पास था, मेरे पास गुलाल। कीचड़ उसके पास था, मेरे पास गुलाल। जो भी जिसके पास था उसने दिया उछाल। और अच्छाई है जितना कीचड़ उछालोगे कमल उतना ही ज्यादा खिलेगा। हमारी प्राथमिकता मेरे देश का नागरिक था, हमारी प्राथमिकता हमारे देश के सामान्य लोग थे और इसलिए हमने 32 करोड़ से ज्यादा परिवारों के पास गैस कनेक्शन पहुंचाए, नया इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर खड़ा करना पड़ा, धन खर्चना पड़ा। आजादी के अनेक दशकों के बाद भी इस देश में 18,000 से ज्यादा गांव ऐसे थे जहां बिजली नहीं पहुंची थी और ये गांव अधिकतर हमारे आदिवासी बस्ती के गांव थे, हमारे पहाड़ों पर जिंदगी गुजारने वालों के लोगों के गांव थे, जनजातीय से गांव थे, नॉर्थ ईस्ट के गांव थे। लेकिन ये उनके चुनाव के हिसाब किताब में बैठता नहीं था, इसलिए इनकी प्रायोरिटी नहीं था। किसी कार्यक्रम में अगर नेहरू जी के नाम का उल्लेख नहीं हुआ तो कुछ लोगों के बाल खड़े हो जाते, उनका लहू एकदम गर्म हो जाता। मैं बहुत आश्चर्य होता है कि चलो भाई हमसे कभी छूट जाता होगा नेहरू जी का नाम और छूट जाता होता होगा, हम ठीक भी कर लेंगे क्योंकि वो देश के पहले प्रधानमंत्री थे। लेकिन मुझे ये समझ नहीं आता है कि उनकी पीढ़ी का कोई व्यक्ति नेहरू सरनेम रखने से डरता क्यों है? क्या शर्मिंदगी है नेहरू सरनेम रखने से? क्या शर्मिंदगी है? इतना बड़ा महान व्यक्तित्व अगर आपको मंजूर नहीं है, परिवार को मंजूर नहीं है, और हमारा हिसाब मांगते रहते हो। वो लोग कौन सत्ता में बैठे थे जिन्होंने आर्टिकल 356 का सबसे ज्यादा दुरुपयोग किया। 90 बार चुनी हुई सरकारों को गिरा दिया। कौन है वो? कौन है जिन्होंने किया? कौन है जिन्होंने किया? कौन है जिन्होंने किया? एक प्रधानमंत्री ने आर्टिकल 356 का 50 बार उपयोग किया, आधी सेंचुरी कर दी। वो नाम है श्रीमती इंदिरा गांधी का। 50 बार। देश देख रहा है, देश देख रहा है, एक अकेला कितनों को भारी पड़ रहा है। एक अकेला कितनों को भारी पड़ रहा है। अरे नारे बोलने के लिए भी, नारे बोलने के लिए भी उनको बदल करना पड़ता है। जो भी ये बोलता है घंटे भर से आवाज की जवाब देना। आदरणीय सभापति जी, एक कन्विक्शन के कारण चला हूं, देश के लिए जीता हूं, देश के लिए कुछ करने के लिए निकला हुआ हूं। और इसलिए ये राजनीतिक खेल खेलने वाले लोग, उनके अंदर वो हौसला नहीं है, वो ढूंढ रहे हैं, बचने का रास्ता खोज रहे हैं।
The message is loud and clear. For 2024, it's going to be one versus all, Modi versus the rest. Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi, you would have been present when the Prime Minister delivered that fiery speech. My question is what the Congress party is asking right now. It was a political speech, the one that clearly sends a message that in 2024, this is what the BJP is going to be talking about. But Adil is asking, where were the replies to the questions that have been asked by the opposition parties, particularly Congress leaders?
I was present in that whole speech, but it was very unfortunate and unpleasant and painful scenario, because it is customary when the vote of thanks is being given and discussed for the President of India's speech, then it is believed and it is a tradition that all opposition parties properly support that or oppose that, whatever, but the house remains in order, because the definition of parliament in the Indian constitution is president plus the two houses of parliament. And when the Prime Minister is speaking, still you are making such a hue and cry continuously for the entire tenure of the speech. It was very unfortunate, and I think Modi ji has said it appropriately कि एक तरफ अकेला मोदी और दूसरी तरफ ये सब थे. Now it was, and there was a time in Indian politics when it was Congress versus rest. Now it's an era when BJP versus rest, but in parliament it was looking Modi versus rest. But I would like to say that the rest should try to understand that Modi is the best, and it is for rest to at least understand that. But as far as the so-called allegation is concerned, Maria, I would like to ask, in the last 22 years, since Modi ji became Chief Minister in 2001, you name a single year or single month in which they have not tried to put an allegation on Modi ji. And in the entire tenure of 10 years when they were in power, can you quote a single instance when they were able to prove anything on Modi ji? So it is their customary illogical, irrational approaches and allegations, so they have lost the credibility on their allegations also. And in this context, technically I would like to ask, can they quote a single instance in the entire history of India, Indian parliamentary history, when an inquiry has been set up on one media report, that too when the same media entity is come under investigation in their own country? Can they quote a single instance in the entire world history? They are having no faith on SEBI of India, the LIC, SBI, others, but they are having a characteristic tendency. They don't have faith in CC, they don't have faith in media, they don't have faith in judiciary, they don't have faith in army, they don't have faith in air force. Everywhere they don't have faith. So unfortunately they have fallen prey to schizophrenia. जैसे एक आदमी साइकिक डिप्रेशन का शिकार हो जाता है ना, वो सोता है तो उसे लगता है कि आसमान से छत गिरने वाली है, अब छत गिर जाएगी तो हम सब मर जाएंगे. उस ढंग की जो इनके दिमाग में फितरत बैठ गई है, उसकी वजह से वो अपने खुद, they have become the part of their self deception.
Okay, tell me, Kalanidhi Veeraswamy, this entire offensive is being spearheaded by the Congress. As an ally, are you part of this entire charge? Because what Sudhanshu Trivedi is saying is also making sense. That, you know, that this has been the charge against Mr. Modi for the longest time. Every month, every week. But when the Congress was in power, the UPA for 10 years, none of these charges were proven. And what about the regulators? You don't have faith in the regulators of India. Forget about the government. What about regulators?
Can I reply to that?
Yes, please. Go ahead, Mr. Veeraswamy.
The basic thing is, today we are talking about two main issues. One is regarding the speech which Mr. Modi had made, and the other is regarding the Adani issue, which there is a lot of queries which are being raised where we have been demanding for a JPC. And we also have a news that in the Sri Lankan parliament, during one of their parliamentary committee meetings, there was an official over there who had mentioned that Modi had pressurized them to give a project to Adani. So when we are talking about crony capitalism, we are talking about a prime minister is going and influencing adjacent states, especially when they are going through economic crisis, to pressurize them to give these kind of things it is a very clear sign of crony capitalism. And today we also have a law where you are talking about election bonds, where the details of those election bonds need not be given. So we are also asking, what amount of money has Adani's group of companies given to the BJP? You give a statement. I mean, like, make a statement. And also, at a time when you are saying that people have faith in you and all those things, why was it necessary for you to use emergency provisions to ban a BBC documentary? Nothing was told, whatever was told in that, nothing was a lie. So everything is facts, documented, and they are only
no, but how is all of this related to vote of thanks?
So clear that the people.
Mr. Veeraswamy, how is all of this related to vote of thanks? The Prime Minister was responding to the vote of thanks. Because everybody in the opposition spoke about the Adani issue and the BBC controversy. How are the two linked?
No, I tell you, his speeches are all script written where did he say anything about whatever queries were raised by the ruling government? We wanted
okay, let's listen in from Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi. Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi, in the last 1.5 days.
One second, let me complete. No,
yes, please, go ahead, Kalanidhi.
He also. No, and also it was unbecoming of a prime minister, a person with such a tall stature, to be talking about why they are not using the Nehru surname. Are they ashamed of the Nehru surname? I'm surprised that the prime minister of this country does not know the customs of this country. I mean, when I get married to my wife takes my name as the family name. So my son will have the same name. So when you are talking about Indira Gandhi, when she married Feroz Gandhi, Indira Nehru became Indira Gandhi.
Okay.
So
please respond. You know, so Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi, yes, the Prime Minister's speech certainly has been political in both the houses. One may say that he steered clear of the controversy and has delivered, almost set the stage and tone and tenor for 2024, sir. But with the opposition being very belligerent and they are demanding a JPC or a Supreme Court monitored probe, where is it all heading then? If you do not respond to the charges coming from the opposition.
First, I would like to draw the attention of your viewers that there is a characteristic symphony from Rafale time to Pegasus to this time. Whenever the Parliament of India is going to be in session, just before that, some reports erupts in foreign media. And they know that there are so many people here in Indian establishment who will be bringing chorus to them. And so that create a ruckus and divert the attention of the country from the serious discussion in the parliament. Otherwise, in the last 7 and 8 years, this thing has been repeated 7 or 8 times. And now on the issue of the Nehru surname, I would like to say, when he is talking about the Indian tradition, that Indira ji was the wife of Feroz Gandhi. So Feroz Gandhi became father, then how come Rahul Gandhi became Dattatreya Gotra ke Kaul Brahman? Can he tell me? Sir, this is your very convenient logic. As and when required, you try to change your legacy. Otherwise, tell me. How come the grandson of Firoz Gandhi became Dattatreya Gotra ka Kaul Brahman? Anyway, leave that apart. But I would like to ask, if they are saying that an inquiry is to be set up on something which is published in the foreign media, I can quote half a dozen things. Volcker report, which has categorically said the Saddam Hussein given money on the oil bonds to Congress party. Natwar Singh has to resign. Inquiry chahiye kya? Mitrokin's archive KGB in the world clearly says that the Congress party got money direct from KGB in 70s. Inquiry chahiye kya? Schweizer's illustrator of the Switzerland in November 91. They have, with the photo of Rajiv Gandhi ji has said that they are having a Swiss account with 1.97 billion Swiss franc. Inquiry chahiye kya? क्या क्या बात की आप बात करते हैं? अगर आप छपी छपाई बातों के ऊपर इंक्वायरी की बात करना चाहते हैं, अगेन आई एम रिट्रेटिंग, quote a single instance in the entire political history of India, and that too of the entire world, when an inquiry of a parliament had been set up on one media report, and that too when that media house itself has become part of investigation, subject to investigation and allegation.
Okay, there was a lot of history being quoted here. Adil, a quick response, and then I bring in Amar Patnaik, who has often complained that BJD, because it is not attached to either sides, gets the least amount of time in parliament and outside as well. Yes, please go ahead, Adil. Yes.
Maria, firstly, let me place an objection, a formal objection.
Yes.
You gave me 45 seconds. You gave the BJP
Go ahead,
MP
sir.
2 minutes and 47 seconds in his first speech.
Please go ahead.
And 2 minutes and 3 seconds in his second
Okay,
speech.
I'll give you 2
This is a
minutes
matter
and
of
5
record.
seconds.
I've been timing this.
2 minutes and
now,
5
please
seconds.
Give me 130 seconds. Or if you don't need the Congress party,
Please
it
go
is
ahead.
your prerogative.
Adil, go
Please
ahead.
give me 130 seconds of uninterrupted time. Number one, there are 3 features of the Adani scam. 9,50,000 crore rupees of investor money has been lost in a time span of 10 days. Now, let me tell the BJP MP, in 2001, when Mr. Vajpayee was Prime Minister, he must recall the Ketan Parekh scam. The Bombay Stock Exchange fell by 500 points, which is not even 10% of the loss of market capitalization, and there was a JPC. This is just to tell him what the BJP had done during 2001. Number two. Number three, there are serious allegations of setting up of shell companies in Mauritius and routing that money into the Bombay Stock Exchange. I can give you 20 infractions of penal laws if it's that. Money laundering, black money, setting up shell companies, inflating prices of stocks. And number three, for the benefit of your viewers, the UK regulator has initiated a probe. I repeat, the UK regulator has initiated a probe against a company called Clara International, which is a fund or a front of the Adanis. Number 5, Standard Chartered, Citigroup, multiple national, international stock markets have stopped taking Adani shares as collaterals. The world is speaking about it. Now, if Mr. Modi and the BJP want to continue to defend a stock market fraudster like Mr. Adani, and the regulators want to maintain stoic silence, then it will just shows how much and the extent of crony capitalism which exists in this country. 9.5 lakh crore rupees of loss of market capitalization between the 22nd of February, between the 24th of January to the 3rd of February. Can the BJP spokesperson respond?
Okay. Since you've got your time.
They are still saying you don't need a probe.
Okay. Okay.
It is shocking.
Okay, you have
shocking.
Adil, I'm sure now you won't say that I didn't give you time. So now Sudhanshu Trivedi.
You gave the BJP MP 4
Sudhanshu
minutes.
Trivedi. Sudhanshu Trivedi, now you can go ahead.
Yes.
Now you have got all your time, Adil.
Shocking.
चलिए आप जवाब दीजिए सारे सवाल
shocking is his response. He had said allegation by whom? An entity which is under allegation, and he is talking about the share market down in 9 days. Sir, this is childish logic. Any profit and loss is finally calculated at the end of the financial year, and even rate of inflation and growth is calculated at least quarterly. If in 9 days you have drawn a conclusion that the market has gone in 9 days, it will remain for 90 days. How illogical it is. Let at least a quarter go, then you can say कि पैसा चला गया investors का. Can you quote a single person whose LIC policy has matured and they have not got the legitimate due? LIC has said that their exposure to the Adani group is 1%. And again I would like to say, ये फॉरेन से क्या कनेक्शन है? बीबीसी, न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स, अल जजीरा, वॉशिंगटन पोस्ट, every time there is a story, it is all said against India and they are echoed by Congress party and their colleagues, etc. That's create a suspicion. और मारिया जी, I would like to quote, हम लोगों के बारे में ये कहा जाता था, we are स्वदेशी वाला, तो we will be attacking foreign companies. But here we are saying that I have not seen a single attack on foreign company. किसान आंदोलन में ना पेप्सी पे ना नेस्ले जो कि उत्तर 35 साल से काम कर रहे हैं पंजाब में, कभी नहीं सुना. All attack on the Indian companies. So that's why, and through on the issue of the foreign media. So that's create a lot of problem. And again I am saying, if there is a substantivity which the Congress spokesperson is saying, put it on the floor of the house. बजट सेशन चल रहा, अपने एमपी से कहिए, बोले फ्लोर ऑफ द हाउस पे ये बात, और ये बात कहें, because on floor of the house you have to substantiate your argument.
Okay.
In media you can say and go.
अच्छा, लेकिन Adil, since you have yes, you'll get time. मेरे से सवाल तो पूछने दीजिए आदिल, एंकर है, सवाल पूछने का हक है. आदिल, सवाल ये है,
सवाल ओपोजिशन के ही होते हैं.
नहीं तो हम सबसे, हमने सुधांशु त्रिवेदी से भी सवाल पूछा, ये तोहमत लगाना गलत होगा. आदिल, question, okay, listen to me. You can always criticize media. That's part of what every party does. So आदिल, सवाल मुझसे ये आपसे ये है कि अगर चार्ज है related to this, then you have the option of approaching the Supreme Court as well.
Maria, there is a reason why you have regulators in the country. And
let me explain. And there's a reason why the regulators have issued a statement already.
Do you recall in 2001 there was a loss of 500 points on the Bombay Stock Exchange? Ketan Parekh, JPC, do you recall that? Here the allegations are 10 times more grave than that. The world has taken notice. Of course, the regulators will not act because they are under the BJP's thumb. And why is it that wherever Mr. Modi goes, contracts for the Adanis follow? Of course, this is crony capitalism. Crony capitalism is when you mold your economic policies to favor a particular
Amal Patnaik, we saw what happened in Parliament as a political party which is not attached to either of the sides. Is this sloganeering and not letting the Prime Minister speak appropriate?
You see, Maria, the point is we are a regional party. And our interest in the parliament is to raise the issues relating to our state, particularly with reference to if there are, demands which are with the central government relating to housing, relating to procurement, much more basic issues which affects the people of, let's say, my state, Orissa. And so when there is any kind of din or pandemonium in the parliament, we as a party, our leader Naveen Patnaik has never supported this because we don't get a chance to raise these issues if there is such kind of a din, whoever causes the din. The second point here is that any discussion that has to take place can take place only when there is some kind of decorum which is maintained in the house, and it could be discussed in a very civilized and sanitized way. And if any issue is to be taken up, it could be taken up in the house itself once it is listed in the business. So I think there are procedures which are set up, which are set well laid out, and it will be in the fitness of things that all of us follow that.
So are you of the opinion that particularly when there is a discussion on the motion of thanks which has been given by the president, there has to be that decorum that should be maintained? We saw that perhaps in the Lok Sabha, it was missing in the Rajya Sabha today.
You see, the president's speech and the motion of vote of thanks are customary in nature. This is our tradition that has been maintained. And I think in the fitness of things, once again, we must, honor our tradition, conventions, parliamentary conventions in particular. And this, I think, would not really, this kind of situations would not really set good examples for future. So I would probably think that whatever has happened today, if it is not again in the parliamentary system or the decorum that is prescribed in the rules of business, I think we really should have avoided that.
Okay. Sanjay Kumar, the Prime Minister here clearly makes it about one versus all, he versus the rest. That will be perhaps the script that the BJP will be following going ahead, because we have seen Modi versus who, the question that is asked. Now it is the Prime Minister saying, मतलब एक आदमी सब पर भारी पड़ गया है, and that is what is appearing to be. My question is, in the past, direct attack against the Prime Minister hasn't really worked. It has boomeranged. Are you sensing the same this time around, or it will be different?
No, Maria, I am sensing the same. Yes, whenever opposition, whether united or parties, different parties separately, whenever they have tried to attack Prime Minister Modi personally, it has never, those parties have never got any electoral dividends. So I think I am sensing that to happen again in 2024, and Prime Minister Modi has set the pitch for that. He has already mentioned in the parliament that it is one versus all, and one is being weighing heavily against all the leaders. So I sense that this is what is going to happen in 2024. This is going to be the pitch for 2024 for the BJP.
But Professor Sanjay Kumar, do you think the point being made by opposition this time around is far more aggressive? We have seen before 2019 it was Rafale. There have been similar allegations that have come in, but none of those allegations really held water, because we saw what was the response. But this time around, the entire opposition seems to be united.
Maria, there is a slight difference. If you look at 2019 and Rafale, it was all about the government and the company. This time it is slightly different, and slightly different is Modi Adani, and it is so the opposition is trying to target Prime Minister Modi personally of being cozy with the businessman who is who has been given favors by the government. So opposition is trying to do something a little bit different, but I'm not sure whether even this different strategy is going to succeed for the opposition, because whatever they may say on the floor of the parliament, finally people vote. And I don't see this going down well in the minds of the people. In a sense, people don't believe, or I would say differently, generally people think this is all part of the game. In a sense, in politics, political parties need money, and there are big businessmen who do support political parties. So generally people don't see anything wrong in this kind of an, like parties supporting business houses supporting the political party. So I don't see this turning into a big electoral issue in 2024 which can push the BJP in a difficult corner. I don't see that happening.
Okay, so you are sensing it that perhaps it won't be an issue. Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi, one view certainly is that the Prime Minister today has thrown down the gauntlet for 2024. Is it him versus all?
First, I would like to put forward a fact. Adani Group got first contract during the Rajiv Gandhi time. It was legitimate and right. Mundra Port during Narasimha Rao, legitimate and right. Food Corporation of India contract for 15 years during Manmohan Singh, it is right. Biggest investment in the last 6 months in Rajasthan, Ashok Gehlot given, it's right. Then Chhattisgarh, Bhupesh Baghel given, it's right. The biggest port, it is given in Kerala, PNR Vijayan, where Rahul Gandhi is member of parliament. It is right. But only that portion is wrong, and that too after the clarification by the regulators. I think this logic looks illogical and ridiculous. And as far as Sanjay ji is concerned, जो उन्होंने बात बोली, तो बस एक बात कहना चाहूंगा कि मोदी जी के खिलाफ नफरत और पर्सनल अटैक तो 2001 से शुरू हुआ। ये नफरत करते रहे और जनता उनको मोहब्बत देती रही, जिसको ये मर्ज समझते रहे वो मर्ज तो बढ़ता रहा। तो एक लाइन में कहना चाहूंगा कि मरीजे नफरते मोदी पर लानत खुदा की, मर्ज बढ़ता गया जो जो दवा की। तो इन्हें देखना चाहिए कि जो ये दवा कर रहे हैं उससे इनका मर्ज बढ़ रहा है, मोदी जी की तो पॉपुलैरिटी बढ़ रही है।
Adil, yesterday the Prime Minister talked about that Suraksha Kavach that he has, because he continues to win elections, his policies get validation electorally. So the point being made by Sudhanshu Trivedi here of the love that he is getting from the people, and also how the projects that that perhaps was started by the Adani Group started during the Congress regime. So my question is, should Adani's projects under Congress regimes be also open to investigation?
Maria, I'm quite surprised. I'm surprised at the arrogance of the BJP, and I'm surprised at the watchdogs or the institutions who have completely given up on their quest for accountability, because in a democracy, it's checks and balances which matter. I think what is most critical here to understand is, and you have to separate the spiel and the propaganda and the misinformation here. What are the allegations and how have the market reacted? Today, retail investors, ordinary citizens, lower middle class citizens have lost lakhs of rupees. I'm again reiterating it at the cost of repetition, 9.5 lakh crore rupees of market funds have been lost. This is not just merely the Congress making an allegation. There are allegations that the Prime Minister of Sri Lanka told the regulator that you have to give this port to Mr. Adani because Mr. Modi has said so. The Bangladeshi government wants to renegotiate a PPA. Wherever Mr. Adani goes, whether he goes to Israel, whether he goes to Australia, contracts follow for Mr. Adani. So the fact of the matter is, there are allegations of accounting fraud. There are allegations of setting up shell companies. There are allegations of inflated stocks. It is all very well to dismiss it summarily, but let's not lose sight of the fact that international stock markets and domestic stock markets, common investors like you and I, have reacted. And let us also not lose sight of the fact that Mr. Adani's wealth has grown exponentially since 2014. Today, he has his finger in almost every pie.
Okay,
and
Kalanidhi Veeraswamy, one thing that has become clear now is that this was and has been a face-off between Rahul Gandhi and Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Do you see Rahul Gandhi as the face of the opposition on the road to 2024?
Is that question to me?
No, Mr. Kalanidhi Veeraswamy of DMK.
Which Congress has to take. I mean, no. This is a decision which Congress has to take, and their party has to decide about who is going to be the face of for the next elections. But today the Prime Minister was also talking about that Congress had brought down governments using the article for dismissing elected state governments. Here we are seeing that the BJP government is harassing all opposition ruled states using the governors, and in some places we have seen the mischief that they do play when they in places like Karnataka, Maharashtra and all these places. So let us not make it sound as if BJP is a very holier than thou attitude, and I mean keep saying about Congress. BJP has equally done enough amount of see, when the moment they come to power, they want to push their agenda of one language, this language issue, and they want to ensure that all the opposition ruled states are totally, they cannot function peacefully. So in Tamil Nadu, we have a governor who has behaved in the most unbecoming way for that high office, and despite that, we have to make do and see how we can progress. And if you look at the South Indian states, out of the 130 MPs over there, BJP and Alliance have only 30. Okay. 100 are against the BJP. Okay. So this is the kind of a state which are the states which are most developed.
I have to give some time to Amar Patnaik as well. Amar Patnaik, are you hoping that parties such as yours get time to speak now, and there will be some decorum that will be followed in Parliament? It will be only one day that's left, that's tomorrow, before the the break that is there.
Hope so. We hope so, because a very important day, considering the fact that the budget discussions are going to be taken up, and we have several issues to raise in the Parliament relating to our state, which could have been probably considered in the budget, which we are looking forward to, and we would make that plea before the Honourable Finance Minister. So we really look forward to a sane environment and a kind of peaceful discussion taking place tomorrow.
Okay, Professor Sanjay Kumar, I'll give you the final word. You are seeing the Congress respond. You have seen other political parties speak. The Congress party is also following this strategy that they would want their views be part of the parliamentary records, and that is the reason why they agreed for a discussion. But in the Rajya Sabha, it was about sloganeering while the Prime Minister was speaking. My question is, here is the Prime Minister who speaks about the Suraksha Kavach yesterday. Here is the Prime Minister who speaks about one versus all today. There is a script that is being followed here. Do you feel, because you would have done multiple research on Prime Minister's own popularity, this is something that could work for the BJP, and In multiple elections where the Prime Minister takes center stage, it has always worked for the BJP.
Maria, first, I am posing a counter question to myself and then answering the question. Do I see or do I think that BJP's popularity or Prime Minister Modi's popularity has gone down? No, it is not. So, this strategy has worked for the BJP and for Prime Minister Modi in the past. He still remains to be popular. BJP still remains to be a popular party. Look at the number of states where they are the ruling party. Look at the vote percentages BJP has across the country, 37% vote. So all the indicators suggest that BJP, in my opinion, is nowhere in a trouble. If you hold elections in a couple of months, I'm sure BJP would be the, leading the race by a huge margin over its nearest rival. So this strategy has worked for the BJP in the past. BJP doesn't seem to be in a deep trouble at the moment, and this strategy is going to help them in 2024 electoral contest.
All right. Thank you so much for your time, Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi, Professor Sanjay Kumar. Always a pleasure to have you on my shows. Amar Patnaik, Adil Singh Boparai and Kalanidhi Veeraswamy. Now let's listen in again to what the Prime Minister has said when he made that blistering attack against the opposition in the Rajya Sabha.
इतने महत्वपूर्ण सदन में कुछ लोगों का व्यवहार, कुछ लोगों की वाणी न सिर्फ सदन को लेकिन देश को निराश करने वाली रही। इस प्रकार की वृत्ति प्रवृत्ति के माननीय सदस्यों को मैं यही कहूंगा, कीचड़ उसके पास था, कीचड़ उसके पास था, मेरे पास गुलाल। कीचड़ उसके पास था, मेरे पास गुलाल। जो भी जिसके पास था उसने दिया उछाल। और अच्छा ही है, जितना कीचड़ उछालोगे कमल उतना ही ज्यादा खिलेगा। हमारी प्राथमिकता मेरे देश का नागरिक था, हमारी प्राथमिकता हमारे देश के सामान्य लोग थे, और इसलिए हमने 32 करोड़ से ज्यादा परिवारों के पास गैस कनेक्शन पहुंचाए, नया इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर खड़ा करना पड़ा, धन खर्चना पड़ा। आजादी के अनेक दशकों के बाद भी इस देश में 18,000 से ज्यादा गांव ऐसे थे जहां बिजली नहीं पहुंची थी, और ये गांव अधिकतर हमारे आदिवासी बस्ती के गांव थे, हमारे पहाड़ों पर जिंदगी गुजारने वालों के लोगों के गांव थे, जनजातीय से गांव थे, नॉर्थ ईस्ट के गांव थे। लेकिन ये उनके चुनाव के हिसाब किताब में बैठता नहीं था, इसलिए इनकी प्रायोरिटी नहीं था। किसी कार्यक्रम में अगर नेहरू जी के नाम का उल्लेख नहीं हुआ तो कुछ लोगों के बाल खड़े हो जाते, उनका लहू एकदम गर्म हो जाता। मैं बहुत आश्चर्य होता है कि चलो भाई, हमसे कभी छूट जाता होगा नेहरू जी का नाम, और छूट जाता होता होगा हम ठीक भी कर लेंगे क्योंकि वो देश के पहले प्रधानमंत्री थे। लेकिन मुझे ये समझ नहीं आता है कि उनकी पीढ़ी का कोई व्यक्ति नेहरू सरनेम रखने से डरता क्यों है? क्या शर्मिंदगी है नेहरू सरनेम रखने से? क्या शर्मिंदगी है? इतना बड़ा महान व्यक्तित्व अगर आपको मंजूर नहीं है, परिवार को मंजूर नहीं है, और हमारा हिसाब मांगते रहते हो। ये सदियों पुराना देश सामान्य मानवी के पसीने और पुरुषार्थ से बना हुआ देश, जन जन की पीढ़ियों की परंपरा से बना हुआ देश है। ये देश किसी परिवार की जागीर नहीं है। वो लोग कौन सत्ता में बैठे थे जिन्होंने आर्टिकल 356 का सबसे ज्यादा दुरुपयोग किया। 90 बार चुनी हुई सरकारों को गिरा दिया। कौन है वो? कौन है जिन्होंने किया? कौन है जिन्होंने किया? कौन है जिन्होंने किया? एक प्रधानमंत्री ने आर्टिकल 356 का 50 बार उपयोग किया, आधी सेंचुरी कर दी। वो नाम है श्रीमती इंदिरा गांधी का। 50 बार। देश देख रहा है, देश देख रहा है, एक अकेला कितनों को भारी पड़ रहा है। एक अकेला कितनों को भारी पड़ रहा है। अरे नारे बोलने के लिए भी, नारे बोलने के लिए भी उनको बदल करना पड़ता है। जो भी ये बोलता है घंटे भर से आवाज की जवाब देना। आदरणीय सभापति जी, एक कन्विक्शन के कारण चला हूं, देश के लिए जीता हूं, देश के लिए कुछ करने के लिए निकला हुआ हूं। और इसलिए ये राजनीतिक खेल खेलने वाले लोग, उनके अंदर वो हौसला नहीं है। वो ढूंढ रहे हैं, बचने का रास्ता खोज रहे हैं।
Country, and we did.
Now, according to the United States, China's fleet of spy balloons have targeted several countries, including India. As per the Washington Post, the surveillance balloon effort has operated for several years now, partly out of the Hainan province, which is in the southern coast of China. They have collected information on military assets in other countries and areas of emerging strategic interest to China, including the Indo-Pacific, India, Japan, and of course the thorny issue of Taiwan. These surveillance airships are operated in part by the People's Liberation Army. They have been spotted over at least 5 continents. They are part of China's fleet of balloons developed to conduct surveillance operations. And they have violated the sovereignty of other countries apart from the United States. So, could the popping of a balloon turn into a watershed moment in the rivalry between the United States and China? The balloon crisis could exacerbate already tense ties where the US and Chinese forces have come into very close contact, including over the South China Sea. US officials are increasingly worried that Chinese state companies may be assisting Russia's military effort against Ukraine by providing technology and semiconductors, which may raise the pressure for action by the White House. The Biden administration is already expected to create a body to review outbound US investments into China the next few months, and the new Republican House Speaker, Kevin McCarthy, is expected to follow in the footsteps of his Democratic predecessor, Nancy Pelosi, with a visit to Taiwan later this year. Days after the US shot down a suspected Chinese spy balloon, the first images of the debris were released by the US Navy. The balloon, it was around 200 feet tall. Just wrap your head around that figure, 200 feet high. It was shot down early Saturday morning as it floated off the coast of South Carolina. The US Navy is using underwater drones, warships, inflatable vessels, to try and retrieve whatever pieces they can from this balloon. The debris are now being taken to an FBI lab in Virginia to analyze the capabilities of this balloon. What danger could it have possibly meant for the United States and for US citizens? Remember, the US insists that the balloon was used by the Chinese military for spying. While China has acknowledged that the balloon was indeed Chinese, they have called it a weather balloon that had blown off course. Now, this balloon has caused a serious diplomatic face-off between the US and China. Just take a look at the series of events over the last 10 days. The balloon first entered American airspace towards the end of January, flying around the southern tip of Alaska. It then entered Canadian airspace to then float back into American airspace. It made its way over Montana, which is home to the Malmstrom Air Force Base, which is one of the 3 sites which operates and maintains the Silo Base intercontinental ballistic missiles.